My YouTube channel. This is another video by me. For those that are watching this video for the first time or coming to this channel for the first time, welcome to the channel. I welcome you, and I also want to ask you guys to click on the subscribe channel because this is the first time watching this, and also click on the notification icon so you can always get notified whenever I drop beautiful content like this. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at Wyckoff entry. We're going to be looking at aggressive entry and code, and we're going to be looking at the 5 minutes or 15 minute confirmation entry. Okay, so guys, stay tuned because I'm going to explain Wyckoff in a bit. All right, so now this is card JPY. Yeah, and for those that might want to ask for the analysis video, I won't drop any analysis video because last week was quite messy because of the news. You can see we had spikes, and spikes. That was because of the news, FOMC, NFP, and then card employment change or card employment whatever. So let's just make a video explaining some of the entries that might seem difficult to people. Okay, so this is a USD AUD trade I took, and some of my students took this also in the mentorship group. USJPY, we had nothing on USJPY because of NFP last week and card JPY. Okay, so I'm explaining this entry, 15 minutes entry or 5 minutes entry using card JPY. Now, yes, this is card JPY. For card JPY, we had this overall bullish move to the upside, and then since then it has been giving us some, sort of like it wants to change trend to the downside, but never nonetheless we just want to follow the presentation of whatever the flow is telling us to do. So this is the supply zone we had here, and then markets, almost mitigated it, didn't mitigate, but that is not a problem. Since market didn't mitigate that one, we had a new supply zone there on the 1 hour time frame. As beautiful as this, yeah, this is a supply zone on the 1 hour time frame. So let us go back in time to explain some of the entries. So let me just go to 15 minutes time frame for the sake of this video. Still the same explanation. You can use it on one minute time frame, 5 minutes time frame, and then 3 minutes time frame also. But for me, I use any time frame, okay? And if you want to know more about entries, you can contact me. We teach that in my mentorship, specifically on different entries we use for entering markets when it gets to a zone. Okay. So for me, on the 15 minutes time frame, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a break of structure. I won't take this as a break of structure because the break is not impulsive. It only did some sort of respecting this demand zone and it's going up. Okay. So I want to see those demand zones fail before I take any sell opportunity to enter. Now it's looking like it wants to range. Now I've gotten the break of structure I want. Yeah, got the break of structure there. And my entry should be on this candle here, right? So for me, there's liquidity here like this, but it doesn't matter. So my stop loss can be above the liquidity in case they want to be a liquidity grab and then stuff like that. So that is 13 pips SL, and yeah, so this is how markets played out nicely. This is the first entry I've explained, which is the normal order block entry. This is the confirmation entry most people use. Remember, you can use it on 3 minutes, 1 minute, and then 5 minutes. But when you're using this sort of entry on the 1 minute time frame, it's going to take a very long time. So you have to be very, very careful, you know, before you enter that type of trade. So that is that on using the break of structure entry. I'm going to be explaining the risk or aggressive entry on BTC USD. Or let me just use AUD USD. Let me use the AUD USD I took personally. Let me use this one because I this one is giving more reasons to take more trades aggressively. So now when you want to enter trades aggressively, when you want to use aggressive entry, now there must be things you must consider because you can't just say, okay, I want to take trades aggressively and then set your sell limits, pending orders immediately. What if market doesn't want to give you the aggressive entry? You understand? So the first thing first is you should mark out your inducements. You should mark out areas of liquidity. You can see there's liquidity here. There's liquidity above. Is there also imbalance? There's imbalance here that the market might want to fill. There's an imbalance there. The market might want to feel there's liquidity below the zone also, and there's this kind of inducements, this sort of inducements right here. So these are three reasons I want to say, okay, maybe I'm busy, I want to use the aggressive entry there. I've gotten my confirmation. So this will be your confirmation, not entering this space and going down to smaller time frames for confirmation. This is going to be your confirmation, the imbalance, liquidity, and then the inducements. You understand? So for me, some people will say, okay, why is this not a good demand zone? Now you can see now that this demand zone that is here, all what we are looking for is above this demand zone. You understand? There's imbalance here, true, but there's still an imbalance above. There's inducement above. There's a demand zone. There's a supply zone. Sorry, there's a supply zone above. There's liquidity above. There's inducement above. So I only want to take a sell entry here if I want to use the aggressive entry. But if you want to use the confirmation entry, then you can go down to the smaller time frame to confirm. And I don't even think this one will give any confirmation on the 15 minutes. Or let's check the 5 minutes or the 15 minutes. Yeah, this is the 15 minutes time frame. I won't also take this as breakout structure because I want to see a strong, breakdown to the breakout structure. Now, using the 5 minutes time frame, you can see that there is a breakout structure here. You can see now there's a breakout structure on 5 minute time frame. So that's why I said if you are using this sort of entries, 5 minutes or 1 minute or 3 minutes entry, you have to be very, very careful. And we deal with this. We know how to enter all this. So this is not a problem for my students. So now I was talking about aggressive entry, right? Now we have the liquidity above, we have the imbalance above, and then there's inducement above. Okay, so this is more an good reason for me to take any sell trade at this point because and I've given it enough stop loss like that. So I have enough confirmation that is telling me I want to sell here or I want to buy here. You understand? So that is one. That is, yeah, the major things you have to watch out for when looking for aggressive entries. Now, for this one, I didn't use aggressive entry. I used my confirmation entry, and then we got in the blues over here. And one of my students also passed his phase one of his MFF challenge with this setup here. So there's nothing so hard about all this. Okay, you just have to check out of check everything in place. There's also inducement here, there's imbalance there. But for me, I don't like using aggressive entry, you understand? But for those that would like to use aggressive entry, make sure you have the imbalance, make sure you have the inducement, and make sure there's also liquidity formed. But for me, I really don't want to say there's liquidity below the zone because there's a lot of price action below the zone. So if I say there's liquidity here, I can say there's liquidity here, true. I can also say there's liquidity here, true. And where again, I think there's liquidity here also. So for me, having this kind of liquidity here, there's liquidity here, there's liquidity here, there's liquidity here, is also a very good. But look at just take a look now. We if you have used a sell limit here, you'd have gotten drawdown. Even if you don't stop loss, you have gotten drawdown and before you got into profit. But it's also very nice. You can see inducements, liquidity, and then you could have used your aggressive entry there also. And even though you used aggressive entry, you got profits, and with I use confirmation entry also, you got profit on that too. Okay, and what am I expecting on ADUSD? So I'm expecting this touch on ADUSD here, since there's liquidity created below me, above. Is it below or above? Yeah, above now. Okay, there's liquidity created above me, and there's a demand zone. There's a demand zone below the liquidity. So for those, and there's imbalance here. This one is acting as inducement. There's also liquidity here, so we'll take it from here next week. Okay. But for me, I always use confirmation no matter what. No matter what. Because sometimes markets you might set up another year and then Asian session will come and destroy everything. So let the Asian session come just like this year. I woke up around 4 a.m. I was waiting for Asian session. There was a lot of entries at this point. Don't let me go back in time. Okay, let me just go back for it to show you. There was a lot of entries here. There's a lot of entries here. Even on 5 minutes time frame. But Asian session, I didn't want to enter. You can see it was even a sniper entry. I didn't want to enter the Asian session trade there. So I woke up London session and then took the trade. Okay. So this one to Asian session. I don't like Asian session. I'm waiting for my confirmation during the London session liquidity graph. Okay. Let's go to USD JPY. On USD JPY, you can see here there's liquidity, enough liquidity here, enough liquidity, but imbalance maybe or maybe not. But looking at this, I knew that there was NFP coming and there was no reason for me to take any trade here. Though I took some trades here, but they didn't trigger, you understand? They didn't trigger. So I just deleted the others and when I saw these markets mitigating this 1 hour demand zone, in fact I was like, market wants to be bullish because it should, if it's coming from a very strong supply zone like this, it should give me this kind of breakout from this demand zone, break the demand zone, wait for mitigation like this, and then we look for selling opportunities. But it didn't do that. It gave me the confirmation here that I didn't enter any trade here because of NFP, and then now it's going up. Okay, so now let's look at Wyckoff entry. Okay, let's look at Wyckoff entry. Where's BTC? Yes, BTC Wyckoff entry. Because many people like Wyckoff and people always say it is complicated, all kind of stuff. But yeah, I like Wyckoff a lot, but just that it doesn't show every time in the market. It doesn't show every time in the market. So here also there's liquidity here, there's imbalance here. So you could have used your aggressive entry, right? You could have used your aggressive entry. But just one disadvantage of this aggressive entry is that your stop loss is going to be wide, okay? Unlike using smaller time frame confirmation, okay? Unlike using smaller time frame confirmation. That is just the difference. When you are using confirmation like this, your stop loss is going to be very, very small, which is very, very good and reasonable. Okay, so now this is Wyckoff. There was a Wyckoff schematic that there's a Wyckoff schematic that happened here, and then let's see how everything played out. Okay, so for me, Wyckoff automatic rally. First of all, I'm sorry. First of all, is the preliminary supply which we have here. I don't want to do it deliberately because it might take a lot of time. Okay, um, preliminary supply. Let's just do that. Yes, you know, we're looking to sell. So preliminary supply is like the first sell zone before market enters into the POI. You understand? Preliminary supply is the first sell movement that occurs before the market taps into the point of interest. I think I've explained that. And when market touches the point of interest and then gives me a sharp sell down, I'll take that as what my buying climax, okay? Because that's the highest point the market has reached before it started coming down. So let's wait for a sell move down. I'm waiting for that sell move down. Yeah, I can say now that okay, I've gotten a sell move down. This is my what? This is my buying climax BC because that is the highest point that market got to into the POI and then started selling now. Okay, so we're expecting that if market should come to um give me some stuffs like this at this buying climax, then it is going to create liquidity for me, which I'm going to use to enter the trade. Okay, so now this is the buying climax, the highest um buying point before market started selling. You can see there's a selling point here, but markets didn't tap into the PI. This is the tap into the PI. Okay, now let's keep moving. I want to see a secondary test, which is the resistance that creates liquidity. Yes, that is the secondary test. It's the secondary test. It is like when you say something is secondary, it means something that is not really important, something that is not really necessary. And when you mean test means when something retests something. Okay, so this is a secondary test because it is testing this buying climax. As simple as that. So tell me why Wyckoff is hard. There's nothing so hard about Wyckoff. You can see now. So now liquidity is created. What am I waiting for? Now that liquidity is created, I want to see a liquidity grab as simple as ABC. Okay, liquidity has been created with the help of these secondary tests because it is the second zone that tested the buying climax. Okay, then I want to see a liquidity grab. I want to see a liquidity grab. I want to see a liquidity grab. So now it's still the same thing. Now you can see secondary test. You can call this one test again. Hey, fuck. Let's quickly go back in time. Okay, it's still with me. Yes, so you can call this the tests. You can see it's still inside. It's still creating resistance. You can see it's still creating resistance. It's still the old resistance, so it's still creating resistance like this. So it's still creating resistance. I want to see a liquidity grab. Okay, and this is BTC. In fact, let me just tell you something, guys. If your broker has BTC, trade BTC more on cryptos because BTC gives more of Wyckoff. Okay, so we're going to backtest a little bit because this is a backtest session and then I'm just trying to share some of my knowledge with you guys. Okay, I'm waiting for that liquidity graph. Can you see that now? Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, so it's took out the liquidity of this I here. You can see that is the buying climax. It took out the liquidity of the buying climax. So when we see that sort of liquidity graph, we know that yes, market is ready to sell. And then this is the supply zone here. That is a supply zone, not another block. Okay, that is a supply zone and not another block. This is the other block. This is the supply zone. I won't say much about that. So now we've got some break of structure here. The type of break of structure I want, impulsive break of structure. So my short should be here. Yes, stop loss above that. And yeah, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. Okay, so more breaking structure comes to the downside, confirming that zone for me. Okay, now tapping into my point of interest, and as you can see, it sold off like no man's business. Okay, so this is simple Wyckoff. This is simple Wyckoff, just like I explained, simple Wyckoff. So instead of using aggressive entry where your stop loss is going to be very wide and outside the zone, it's very good to wait for confirmations like Wyckoff or the 15 minutes confirmation. Okay, if you're not so good in 15 minutes, if you're not so good in Wyckoff, then uh use the 15 minutes entry. Okay, so for me this is the automatic rally. You can even see now I didn't label the automatic rally because it's not as if I really needed it like that. You can see now I even forgot that, but you can see that it didn't really play any role in trading it. So all you just need is the first supply, that's the preliminary supply, the bind climax, the tap into the PI that sold, set secondary tests, the the zone that caused the resistance and liquidity, the test giving you more liquidity, and the liquidity grab, which is the UTAD. Okay, so that is the liquidity grab. It is called the UTAD. It's called uptrust after distribution, and then this is the entry here. Beautiful entry. Okay, nice entry. That is how I enter Wyckoff. But most of the time, I made Wyckoff simplified for my students. You understand? For my students, I made Wyckoff simplified for them so they don't need to go through all this stress because not everybody has intensive memory of this. You know, sometimes I always forget, just like I forgot now. I also didn't have the memory of, automatic rally and then UTAD, but it's just about the knowledge. You understand? So let's go back a little bit and backtest BTC. Okay, so you can see now that there's a lot of Wyckoff schematics that always happen on BTC. That is why I said if your broker has BTC, please trade BTC. It gives a lot of Wyckoff schematics. Look at this. Look at this. So you can see liquidity grab Wyckoff, but this one didn't give you mitigation. So Wyckoff is very sweet. If you want to be seeing Wyckoff every day and be a master in Wyckoff, trade BTC. Trade BTC, you get it. It always gives that Wyckoff kind of stuff, kind of movement, you know. Okay, that's where the current market price is. Okay, no, that's not where it is. Okay, so what am I expecting on BTC? Hey, let me pause this and have the supply zone here. You can see how it mitigated it nicely. Yes, I took this trade and I sent the signal also. There was a trade I took on BTC and a signal was sent to those in my crypto students. Signal was sent, we killed this. In fact, it was a very beautiful trade. Let's check if there's Wyckoff there. Not really, not really, not really. I won't take this as Wyckoff, but for those that use 5 minutes entry, you can see beautiful break of structure. This is not so hard. This isn't hard. The entry will be there and then sell it off. So, and one more thing, if you want to trade Bitcoin, if you are a Bitcoin trader, please don't get carried away with the price. Okay, whenever you are trading Bitcoin, don't always follow the price that Bitcoin is in 38,000, it might go to 40,000. Bitcoin is in 30,000, it might go to 20,000. No, if you are following that, it wouldn't help you so much because at that point in time, you'll be like, if you're expecting BTC to go to 50,000, for example, and then you see a sell opportunity here, say seller person's here, you might be wondering that, hey, oh, wow. So market didn't even mitigate that zone. I just drew it out of, okay. Wow, so this is a beautiful backtest also. Now, what I was trying to say is now if you see that market is BTC is going to for 7,000, maybe someone one famous person on Twitter is telling you BTC to 40k soon, BTC to 60k soon, and then you are not trading the price action. Whenever you see a sell setup, it's going to affect your trading entry because you are going to be like, someone said BTC is going to go to 60k soon. Maybe my analysis is not going to be correct. But whereas your analysis is correct and then you're going to have a nice trade, but because you are following the price figure, that tag, that price, that BTC is going to 30k, BTC is going to 50k, it will affect your bias whenever you want to take trade. So please, whenever you're trading BTC, don't always look at these prices. Yeah, just trade price action. Trade the order flow, trade the flow of orders, trade whatever the market is giving you. Okay. And you see how your analysis will be playing out according to your expectations. Okay. So don't always move with those ones that always say, hey, market is going to this, market is going to that, this, that, this, that. You understand? So now for those that use confirmation entry, that's why I always use confirmation entry here. You can see you'd have be saved here. And but those that don't use confirmation entry, I don't think there's any reason to take any confirmation here apart from this imbalance. You can see. So I wouldn't call this liquidity because it was just a rally to the downside, not so much of liquidity like that. And it's even from during the uh when market was slightly inactive. Okay. So I think that'll be all for now. If you are new to this channel, subscribe for more beautiful content like this. Make sure you share to your friends and family and forex traders who are also trading. Make sure you like the video, and then if you have something different, you have to tell me. Maybe a different bias, a little bit different from this, or something entirely different. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, peace, guys. I'm out.